Welcome to the Let's Talk About Talking podcast with your host, Adrienne Fuller, language and communications expert for kids of all ages. On this podcast, we talk about speech, language, and all things happening with your child, giving you specific tactical information you can use to help your kids talk, listen, and thrive in their academic journey.
I am Adrienne Fuller, speech language pathologist, and I am here on the Let's Talk About Talking podcast. Remember, on this podcast, we discuss all things speech, language, occupational. I don't mean that. I guess so. Yeah, speech, language, occupational, academic things for your child all throughout their academic career, including when they're really small to when they're almost grown up. And so today we're going to talk about Valentine's Day, and this is my first podcast during Valentine's Day, and I'm kind of excited about it because when I think back on it, Valentine's Day has held some special memories and not so special memories, and I'm sure we've all been there and had that. And so first of all, I want to talk about non-food ideas that you can use, give away, and experience with your child. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about Valentine's Day, and just, for me, it was a holiday that I loved and hated for a long time. And, I really loved Valentine's Day when I was a kid. Like, this podcast is for parents. So if you have kids, let them experience that, whether you have had a great experience with this holiday or not, because it really is a holiday about love. And I know there are people out there and they're saying, well, it's so commercial, and if I love someone, I shouldn't have to buy an expensive dinner to show it, or expensive. But at the end of it, it's about expressing love to the ones we care about. And you gotta just give it that. Just give it that. And so, when I was a kid, I loved Valentine's Day. I loved decorating the brown paper bags. I loved putting the hearts on the outside and taping it to my desk at school. And then I loved buying those little Valentine's Day cards, and you put them in little envelopes and you write their names on it. And I just think back to that, even as you're parenting, think back to that innocent time, and it was just about giving what you had. And for some of us, it was the first time we showed love to someone else that we were romantically interested in. Like, the little guy who gave you the heart, or the girl that gave you the heart. You know what I'm saying? So I always encourage you to take that part back from the holiday. And so let's talk about those things, those non-food items that we were going to talk about. But I'm going to take one more rabbit trail and want to say, I just want to be that voice of reason that says your kids won't be kids forever. And I know it doesn't feel like they won't be kids forever because it goes so fast, but when you're in it, it goes so slow. And so, no, they won't be kids forever. But this year, I highly encourage you to be thankful for your kids and to send them love without even sending them things. So I'm really in the space of mindfulness, and I'm really in the space of gratitude. And so with things, prices are higher, rent is higher, sometimes your money isn't higher. And so instead of getting all these things and chocolates and balloons and teddy bears, first, have an attitude of gratitude for the love in your life. And let's be grateful for that. Whether it's the love of your special someone, your spouse, the love from your kids. But I highly encourage you, let's just sit in that for a minute, because it can go either way on Valentine's Day. It can be, hey, I love it because I'm falling in love, or I just had a baby and I'm in love with my baby. Or it could be like, Valentine's Day has never been good for me. Valentine's Day has been always awful. And so I highly recommend to do your best to stay in that space of gratitude for what we do have. So if romantic love or a love of a child, like you may be trying to have a baby, and I don't even know why I'm going here. Oh my goodness. But I just want to encourage you to just take the time to say thank you for the things in our life that are and that are good. All right, that's it. That was on my heart today. But let's talk about some things, some non-food items and experiences you could have with your child on Valentine's Day that promote language and all the things that I'm totally about. So I'm sure you might be saying or thinking, well, man, I want to give chocolate like every other. I love chocolate on Valentine's Day, or I like the treats. And you know what? Treats are great. But the longer I'm in this field, the longer I'm coming in contact with kids that are highly sensitive to certain foods, foods like dairy, foods like dyes and colorings like in foods, and gluten allergies. And so keep that in mind, even when you're passing out treats at your kids' class, or if you are a therapist giving things out to their kids. Just be mindful that not everyone loves chocolate. Not everyone loves, candy hearts or those things. And sometimes it's because they can't eat them. And so I think there's some things that we can do instead of food that are just as memorable or even more so. So the first thing is Play-Doh. I think that's really, if you're gonna buy like Valentines with suckers or lollipops, those can be kind of pricey, and you may find that like the little tubes of Play-Doh are ones that's just a nice little gift. That's a nice little thing to give with the Valentine if you're that person that won't melt, that won't cause an allergic reaction or anything like that. And it's fun, and you can also use that to teach or increase communication, or use cookie cutters to talk about shapes. So like the possibilities with Play-Doh are endless. And for a while I used something called smash mats, and so I would make. And you can get this on TPT, you can get this on, and that's the Teachers Pay Teacher site, but smash mats are pages that are laminated, but they have pictures on them. So if I'm trying to teach in Sweet Peas and Pigtails, her store comes to mind first. She has a lot of really good smash mats and things for kids working on any language skills. But if we're working on a sound, I'll have a page of pictures, and then I'll have the child smash the Play-Doh over a picture. So say we're working on the B sound, so you would see ball and bike and Bobo, for lack of a better word. And then you would put the Play-Doh to cover the ball or the bike. Excuse me. Wow. And so that's always like a fun activity you can use. And that's a way you can use Play-Doh to get your kid talking. That's my jam, getting kids to talk. So love that. And also, if you're not using candy or things that are edible, go out and go to visit stores like Dollar Tree or Party City or any of those stores. We used to have a great store in Central Florida that would sell like all teachers' supplies, and they had this great aisle of party favors. So if you're making, you can always go to stores like that to make these goodie bags that are non-food related. And actually kids someone sent me one for for Christmas, like a box of their favorite fidget toys, fidget spinners, or toys that kids can use to keep their hands busy if they are often, or they need that sensory input. That's a great alternative to candy and cake and cookies. Now, I'm not dogging that out. I love those things, but it's always nice. And my nieces and my sister, their mom she's always been very protective of what they ate. She was very particular about the things that they ate. And so I have come to appreciate things that bless your body, foods that bless your body, instead of always the junk. All right. And so if you're going to give something, consider something that is natural. Raisins, craisins. I wouldn't necessarily give nuts away, especially in a classroom setting, because there's almost always allergies. But cuties, the little orange, that's a great gift, guys. That's a great little giveaway that won't make someone throw up. So, and I don't know why I'm on this subject, but when holidays revolve around food, but your child can't always have the food, and you always have to make the fight for I want it, and then you have to tell them why, and sometimes parents don't always want to be the bad guy. So it's always helpful and appreciative when they get natural things or things that are more like experiences. Okay, another thing you can do that would be a great Valentine's Day gift that is non-food related is gift cards. And still, don't be afraid to get those $5 gift cards, especially when they're for little ones. That is a great, great gift. $5 to Chick-fil-A, $5 to McDonald's. Oh, that's food. But you know what I'm talking about. $5 to Target, $5 to Walmart, or anything like that. $5 to the $1.25 tree. That is awesome. And kids can pick out all the things or their favorite things, and it teaches them about money skills, and how things are bought and paid for. So it's always really good. And actually, those gift cards are a great way to teach kids about sales tax, because a lot of times kids just start putting things in baskets, or they want to pay for things, and you're like, whoa there, bud. Whoa, hey, this is $5, but it's going to be a little extra. And so having them have that hands-on lesson, like, oh, you have four things, but one has to go back because you don't have the money for tax. It's always I think it's a nice hands-on lesson to teach them. All right. How about a fun experience for Valentine's Day? I think that's probably one of my favorites of all. So instead of those great foods that we love, chances are that you may be eating them more than you want anyway. And so consider a fun experience. And a fun experience doesn't have to be a trip to Disney. And so we live in the Central Florida area. And so, of course, we have Disney and Universal. But what I'm talking about, and you can do those things, especially if you're a yearly pass holder, I feel like using your passes one day after school for a couple of hours is really just a nice way to break up the day. But you don't have to have a pass to do that. You can go to just a park, something off the beaten path. You go to the park, and then we'll bring our own picnic lunch, or we'll have a scavenger hunt. I love scavenger hunts. You could have a Valentine's Day themed scavenger hunt. You could do that in the park. You could do that Valentine's Day themed scavenger hunt at home, in your house, and hide things around. Oh, it would just be so much fun. Or if you're gonna do a sweet treat, or you want to do something, you can prepare that could be the experience, preparing dinner at home as a family, or having your child, giving them choices. Hey, do you want pizza, or do you want peanut butter and jelly? Or you can set up your own holiday restaurant, your Valentine's Day restaurant, where you can have your child write out the menu, and then they can you can wait on them, or they can be your waiter or waitress. And I just think it's a great family time. It doesn't have to be exquisite. Pizza or sandwiches, drinks, whatever you have at the house. So and you can make it into courses. Oh my gosh, that would be really so much fun. Or you guys all dress up and you have your special meal, or you have your special time out. So it's always good. And I know you're like, well, I'm slowly getting back to food. Boy, we eat a lot in our society today, don't we? Like everything is revolved around food. So another experience you can give are sports. So special games or anything like that. Those excursions are really, really very, very cool and very something off the beaten path. So I'd love to hear some of your Valentine's Day ideas. We're going to drop this episode a week before, so you have a little bit of time to plan. And even if you don't have a firm plan, consider doing something different this year, something that's a little bit out of the ordinary, because those are the things, they don't have to be huge, but things that are just a little different that often your child will remember and you'll remember, So I guess that's all for me today. And I'm going to leave it right there. And I want to say have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, Valentine's Day holiday. And until I see you again, don't forget to make those everyday moments, teachable moments. You'll be so glad you did. Bye.
You've been listening to the Let's Talk About Talking podcast with your host, Adrienne Fuller, language and communications expert for kids of all ages. You can grab Adrienne's book, 30 Days to Get Your Toddler Talking, on Amazon or at speechbuilders.org.